Hello, my name is Mei-Ann Chen. I'm the music director of the Chicago Sinfonietta and Memphis Symphony in Tennessee. It's a great pleasure to be in Richmond for the first time, really looking forward to working with this orchestra of great reputation, and special thanks to Stephen Smith, the music director, for inviting me for a very interesting program to share with your audience. Now, this program, anchored around the Grieg Piano Concerto, has angles to the old and the new. So for example, opening the program with Osvaldo Golijov's Last Round is very interesting way of setting the stage, if you will, because it's a piece that was written, inspired by Osvaldo's admiration for Astor Piazzolla, the Argentinian composer who was really known to be the last great composer on tangos. So Last Round, using the string orchestras as a way to portray tango, using the bow strokes of the string instruments going up and down, almost like two tango dancers, with their leg motions, with this passion portrayed in the music. The very first movement is quite raucous, as he wrote in the score. He wanted this sort of violent, this last fight of Piazzolla. When Osvaldo heard about Piazzolla's stroke in 1991 and eventually took Piazzolla's life in 1992, Osvaldo wrote this movement sort of as a movement based on a boxing story, as a way to signify Piazzolla's spirit fighting for the last time. And yet, he contrasted with a beautiful second movement called Death of the Angel. Really kind of an endless open sigh that really contrasted with this violent first movement. I knew Osvaldo Golijov from premiering his Siderius in 2011, and really gotten to know him, how he works, and I'm really interested in bringing this piece to the Richmond Symphony, working with particularly the string musicians of bringing this piece to life. Now, the Grieg Piano Concerto, it's interesting pairing with our second half Schumann Symphony No. 2. Schumann has really suffered a nervous breakdown in 1844. So he and his wife, Clara Schumann, decided to move from Leipzig to Dresden as a way for him to recover. And so he first completed the piano concerto, which Grieg happened to have heard as a young man, and many people think that the Schumann concerto in the same key in A minor really influenced the Grieg Piano Concerto. Now, after Schumann completed his piano concerto for his wife, he quickly went on to compose a symphony in C major. You would think a person suffering from nervous breakdown would be writing something dark and unhappy. In fact, the Second Symphony of Schumann became one of the sunniest compositions he have ever wrote. So it's interesting that a composer could really be suffering something dark and unhappy, and yet able to create something so beautiful and uplifting. So the C major Symphony No. 2 really has 4 beautiful movements, of the second movement being the scherzo, a famous audition piece for the violinist. It's on every one of their audition lists because of the technical demand of it. The third movement of the Schumann Second Symphony, so beautiful, Adagio. I can't help but to think that he is also writing his love for Clara. A lot of his slow movement, usually inspired by his incredible love for his wife. The last movement is a beautiful kind of a finale, gathering up all this momentum in the symphony. Now, let me talk about the Grieg Piano Concerto. As I mentioned, the Norwegian composer actually heard Schumann's piano concerto and wrote this incredible concerto in his early 20s. Happened to be one of the most popular piano concerto ever written, but also one of his most important work. It has 3 movements, with the first movement starting with a timpani roll, which is quite unusual. And then the piano comes in with this Norwegian folk element, which permeates all Grieg's compositions in his life. The second movement, similar to the last round, it's attacca into the third movement, ending with this incredible display of piano virtuosic playing. Our soloist, George Lee, fascinated young man. I've worked with him 2 years ago to open the Pasadena Symphony. I didn't know him then, but when we met, we discovered we have the same person who gave us our first chance. Mark Churchill, who gave George Lee his first piano concerto opportunity, was the person that discovered me in Taiwan and gave me the chance to come to America. And so it's nice that we're on stage together, sharing the same mentor, if you will. And George is now currently in an incredible program, a dual program between the Harvard University and the New England Conservatory. I predict George is going to have a huge career ahead of him. So we'll be proud to say we heard him in Richmond. Just to end the program with a beautiful connection to my past. The Richmond Symphony now has a wonderful principal, the second violin principal, Ellen Cockerham. Is one of my very proud students from my youth orchestra time with the Portland Youth Philharmonic. I served 5 years there as my first music directorship in the country, and Ellen was one of my very beloved students who went into music partially because of the youth orchestra experience, but has gone so far in not only becoming the principal player in the Richmond Symphony, has started the incredible classical revolution and turning Richmond into a music-loving town. So I'm so thrilled to be here and with all these connections to share with all of you in this wonderful week with the Richmond Symphony.